So book number 1 for the year, Standing for Something by Gordon B Hinckley. I want to do a little bit of a review of some of the books that I'm going to be going over this year, give you some of my perspectives on them. Some of them will probably be ones that you heard. Some of them will probably be ones that you haven't. But in this book, he's talking about the 10 neglected virtues that will heal our hearts and our homes. And I really, really liked this book. The reason why I wanted to start this year off with this book is the last few years have been pretty tough, and our team has really been after it. We've grown tremendously. We've just had our head to the ground working so hard. I'm so proud of the team and everything that they've accomplished. We've grown by leaps and bounds. And a lot of that is kind of tough in every area of our life, in our faith and our family and everything that we want to do. They're always kind of pulling at us in different directions. We've been able to accomplish so much that I just kind of wanted to refresh on some of the basics. And a lot of these things you will probably know, but I kind of wanted to wipe clean all of the things that were kind of going on and everything that had happened and really start fresh with a new perspective. Because as of right now, we're going through a huge growth phase. We've got so much that we want to accomplish in business. We're going through the process of getting married and shortly after that, having kids and moving into another space. And then also keeping commitments with friends and family and everybody else. And the blessing of that is that you become better and you become stronger and you learn how to delegate and do things in your life differently. And it's really important to not get weary in good deeds and to continue forging forward with your goals and things that you want to accomplish for your family. And so that's where I'm at. And as I stated earlier, just kind of wanted to refresh that slate, make sure that my head was on straight and the things that we were going for were in the right direction. Because sometimes we can set goals and try to accomplish things that are not in the right direction, but they're the next goal in line. So I wanted to make sure that was clear. So let's go over these. I loved this book. I think that just by watching this video and going through all 10 of these, it will make a big impact on you and it will help you stay focused through the rest of the year, laying the groundwork of these principles in the beginning. And number 1, as always, and for good reason, is love. Because love is really the only force that can bridge any distance between two people and overcome the chasm of bitterness. And I love the fact that he started with love because really everything is built upon that. Just when I read the first couple sentences of that, it kind of just cleansed everything for me almost immediately. I was like, that's right. Sometimes we can forget what we're doing it and why we're doing it. And it's so easy to jump to conclusions. It's so easy to get upset with people. And there's just something different, especially when you're in charge of other people's lives and your family, or you're coaching people, you're consulting or counseling people. You've got to make sure that this comes first. And for me, I really internalized this and it helped me to understand that too, that sometimes we can kind of just let, especially when we're becoming weary of all the things that we're doing, we've got so much going on, we can be a little bit short with people. And I'm talking about myself here, that remembering that when you're doing it with love, you can still challenge people, you can still push people, you can do all the things you need to do. But when you do it from a place of love, it just comes with a little bit more softness and a little bit more patience and understanding and everything else of the different virtues that will be coming and all of the other virtues that we'll be talking about. But really this lays the groundwork that remembering first and foremost is love. And number 2, of course, is honesty. And he says, where there is honesty, other virtues will follow. And I love this one. This is always one of my favorite things to test out. We're getting to be a pretty big recruiting team, which means we're bringing on new people and new clients all of the time. And there's always so much stuff going on. And one of the funny thing is that people are usually kind of watching me and how I do things. And I don't think they usually realize how much I'm watching and analyzing them, especially when they're on the team. That honesty has to be first and foremost. When you're working with clients, when you're consulting with people, that really has to be the baseline that you're going off of. If you don't have honesty, you're not going to do well in our industry. You're not going to do well. And it's not somebody that you really want to be around. I don't want you around my kids and my family if I can't trust you. And that's what I love about being able to recruit and build your own agency, is you get to pick those people. I get to choose who my wife and my future kids are going to be around, because those are the people that we allow into our business. And so honesty being that foundation, that if honesty is there, you will find other virtues as well. Number 3, morality. Moral virtue and cleanliness pave the way that leads to strength of character, peace of mind, and a heart of happiness. And I think these are really important things to keep in mind in what you're consuming on a daily basis, not just your food, but what's going into your eyes, what's going into your ears, what's going into your mouth. What are those things that you're consuming on a daily basis, and getting rid of a lot of those toxic things that we absorb. As I'm getting around a lot more people and we're building our agency, it's very interesting to me that this is not common knowledge. There are not a lot of people who think and act this way. And this is why I think it's so important to focus on those things that we focus on of faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun, because it really keeps a perspective of keeping these moral virtues really at the forefront of everything that we do. People want to try to shortcut this process. They want to try to have fun and do all of those things. But the challenge is it erodes away other areas of our life that we may or may not, and generally we don't, have intentions for. And we don't think that it's going to happen that way, but it usually does. And to be able to live not just a successful life, but also adding into that a wealthy, successful life, it has to come through moral virtue if it's going to stay long term. Number 4 is civility. Courtesy, politeness, the consideration of others, really all of the education, all of the prestige in the world really doesn't matter without that. And civility is really interesting, especially in our society, because everything that we do when it comes to social media, all of the algorithms, everything that goes on with that is the more flashy you are, the more you're able to stand out, the bigger your emotions are, the more drama you can cause, the more you get promoted, the more you get seen, the more your videos and views will grow. So people often tend, and it can be kind of challenging to keep this in mind in everything that we're doing. Number 5 is learning. And he says, no matter how old we become, we can acquire knowledge and use it. Regardless of our age, we can gather wisdom and profit from it. Education is just the training of the mind, body, and soul. And the challenge is people are so busy trying to live, they forget to actually create a life. And that comes through education. It comes through finding the things that you don't know and advancing your knowledge and understanding of different areas so that you can grow into those areas. Because we make better decisions when we're educated. The challenge is we don't get this education in school. It's things that you have to seek out. Things like financial literacy, things like health, things like your faith. You've got to take on the time and effort to actually go search for those things. Nobody's going to bring that stuff back to you. Number 6 is forgiveness and mercy. He kind of did a double take here, but he still considers this part of the 10 actual virtues. He says that hatred always fails and bitterness always destroys. And we really have so much to be grateful for that without mercy, it's really all for naught. Number 7, thrift and industry. He says that labor and thrift of people make a nation, a community, or a family. And work and thrift make a family independent. And this was just a great reminder for me of why I do what I do. That's the whole goal with building my own agency. It's the whole premise behind what we do and why we take the time to develop our people and why we pour so much into them and why we take so much time and effort to be in the trainings and to take care of our people and to make sure that they have what they need, and why we put such an effort into our clients is because we want this thing to be around long term. And I want this thing to be around long term. Not just for financial independence, but this is something I want to pass on to my kids, that when they inherit this business from me and my clients are being moved on to our kids, that our kids understand what we did and why we did it and how much time and effort we put into building what they have. And they realize the work that was done to make our family free, that we don't have to go to somebody and ask for time off to be able to spend time with my wife or my kid, or to be able to get vacation time, or to be able to take them somewhere if we want to travel around the world, or if they're learning about France in school, that we can actually go do that, ask permission from another man to be able to see my family and spend time with them. And that comes at a huge price. That comes at a lot of time and commitment and communication and working with other people and developing teams. It's not something that's easily done. But this is a nice reminder for me of why we're doing it. That thrift and industry, that work and industry will actually create independence for your family. Number 8, gratitude. He says it's a sign of maturity. Man, isn't that true? When we're kids, we kind of take advantage of everything. We're not really grateful for anything that we have, especially through our teenage years. Oh my gosh, I remember. If you have teenagers, you're probably laughing right now. But this carries on even into adulthood. I think a lot of people have a challenge with this, especially in the society that we live in with Instagram and Facebook, and we're in our phones all the time. So all we see is the highlight reels, and generally it's not even highlight reels. Most of it's fake. You can see that in the people that you see on there, that on the things that they're doing that are on there, the things that they're buying, supposedly spending money on, how much money they have. Most of this stuff is fake, but unfortunately we take their chapter 10 or 15 and we look at our chapter 1, and that can create lots of challenges inside of us. And gratitude, I think, really gives us that opportunity to be able to ground ourselves and think of all the great things. And I do this on a daily basis every morning when I wake up. And I'm thankful for the little things. I remember not having a bed to sleep on I remember not having any furniture in the house. And I remember slowly, piece by piece, kind of putting all of this stuff together. And it doesn't matter how much money you have. You can't always control everything in your life. And it's just a process that you have. So you become grateful for those things. And just being able to look back and go, man, I'm grateful for this bed. I'm grateful for where I'm at. I'm grateful that I have power and water and everything else that goes along with that. And I'm healthy. I think if we actually sat down, we could probably continue writing all the things that we were grateful for that most other countries don't even have access to. That's why I think traveling is so important if you get a chance to do that. Number 9 is optimism. He said we should focus on accentuating the positive. Man, isn't that true? Don't you just love being around people who are excited and positive compared to people who sit and complain, and no matter how many good things are going on in their life, they have something to complain about? We should stop seeking out the storms and enjoy fully the sunlight. It's so easy to become cynical sometimes, especially when you're around a lot of people. You realize how cynical most people actually are, and you become thankful for your group of influencers who are positive and optimistic and are striving for new things. But man, to be able to be out in the general public and around so many different people, especially with everything that's going on right now, there's so much cynicism in the world with where we're going and how we're getting there and everything else. Sometimes it's tough to keep that little bubble around your head and stay positive. And number 10, last but not least, is faith. And here he talks about no great buildings were ever built on uncertain foundations. And he says great causes were never brought to success by vacillating leaders who were wobbly in their beliefs and their focus. So to me, this was a great core foundation book for the beginning of my year. I hope these things were helpful for you. Don't forget to hit the like button. That would actually be number 11, I think, of the most important virtues, is hitting the like button. You're very virtuous if you like hitting the like button, but just kidding. Make sure you hit the like button and make sure you hit the subscribe button as well, and I'll catch you guys later.